I guess I'll start. The status of Aaron Cooley uncertain. Has not practiced. Is making good progress. Has a shoulder injury, and I think working to do everything he can. But given that it's Thursday and he hasn't stepped foot on the court yet, probably at best questionable. But maybe even more realistically doubtful. So obviously need some folks to step into some opportunity. Excited about the chance to get back at it after playing pretty good basketball last weekend. Feel good about our week of preparation, and have two teams coming in that we had really close games with first time around on the road. One close win and one close loss. So. Uh, Columbia specifically tomorrow night will be a major test for our defense and our rebounding. Last game, they really got a lot more shots at the rim and a lot more field goal attempts than we did because of their offensive rebounding and because of our turnovers. I think it was 15 more possessions they had, just due strictly to those two stats. So, got to take care of the ball, got a defensive rebound, got to protect our paint, and gonna have to play well.
Mike, last time out against Columbia, I know he's sort of been breaking out as the season's been going along, but it was sort of a breakout day in general for Malcolm. Just where do you feel like he has improved and grown the most?
Yeah, he's I think he's just getting more and more confident and comfortable with, who he is. I think he really knows what makes him special. He's a big point guard, can really score in the paint, can get to the paint, can really find people defensively. He's physical, he can rebound. So when he defensive rebounds, he starts our break. And yeah, he played really well down there in Manhattan. Maybe it was a little bit of New York City air, being from Queens. I'm sure that got him juiced up for that game, but he followed that up with two, I thought, really important performances last weekend here at home, and we're going to need him to play well again this weekend. And our sophomore class, I think I probably talked about those guys a little bit last week on this, but they're really developing. You see him, you see Dabo, Adrian is getting more and more opportunity, and then even Luke Paragon. We don't see it maybe so much on game night, but he's really developing and he's really been practicing well. So our four sophomores, I think are just progressing and developing as you would expect sophomores to do, and really coming at a good time for us because we need them.
And I guess what was just the most impressive part of the way that you guys started both games last weekend? Because you came out, you built a lead, and then you sort of hung on to it in both games.
The defensive stops early. I know Princeton was 10-2 to start. I think Penn was 6-0 to start. Like defensive stops, offensive execution, obviously taking good care of the basketball and protecting our defensive backboard. Friday night was huge. The halftime box score we talked about, zero turnovers for us, two offensive rebounds for Princeton, a big discrepancy in points in the paint in our favor. Those are three really important stats for us. Not the only important ones, but three of the more important ones. And I think we want to start fast. We want to play with the lead, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to give ourselves as many possessions, as many shot attempts as possible.
Coach, Colombia's been very good offensively, even without a guy like De La Rosa. And defensively, I mean, from a defensive standpoint, I know they lead the league in steals and assist to turnover ratio. I think they're number one in Ivy League play as well. But how is the team different without Geronimo as opposed to when he's on the floor?
Yeah, I mean obviously he's a just an incredible talent. That can he's probably the best cutter that I've seen on film this year. He can really score with the ball in his hands and also without the ball. But they run beautiful offense, whether he's on the court or not. The way they share it, the way they move, the way they space, the way they screen and cut. I mean, they're just incredibly well coached, and the offense they run. Um, Makes me envious at times because that's the kind of offense you want your teams to run. And I think they deserve so much credit for getting their guys to play the way they play in terms of sharing the ball and moving their bodies. And the assist to turnover ratio is a great stat, and I don't think they just lead our league. I think they're out by a decent margin in assist to turnover ratio. So credit to them and their players and how they, you know, how they run offense.
Coach, I know you just talked about some of the sophomore class and how they've continued to develop, but Dabo in particular on the offensive side of the floor, we've seen his defense there. I feel like all season long, and last weekend, particularly in the Princeton game, he was strong on the offensive side of the floor, and his free throw shooting was much improved too. What's been the biggest thing he's been able to work on to make him more of a true two-way threat? Would you say?
Yeah, I think it's a great observation. I think first and foremost, he just works. He is a worker. He is driven. You can set your clock, every morning he's going to be there in the gym, whether it's by himself or with Coach Sam Hirschberger. And he really takes great pride in his work ethic and his routine. I think he's more and more comfortable and confident, with solutions to whatever the defense may throw at us. I think he's very good now playing off Keno and playing off Malcolm and playing off a lot of our playmakers on the perimeter. And that's opened up some opportunities for him in the paint. And then even when there's no opportunities, he can just go get an offensive rebound, which he's done consistently lately. So yeah, his presence at the defensive end of the floor and rebounding has been there all year long. But to your point, his comfort on offense is really, developing, and he's getting more and more minutes. And obviously, with Aaron's status being uncertain, Dabo's a prime candidate to get more time.
Mike, without AC on the floor, maybe what's the one thing that you need other guys to do without him out there? Maybe what's his biggest strength that you're going to be missing?
Well, I'd say tangibly, his ability to defend a lot of different positions, his ability to rebound, and his ability to cut and attack the rim. Intangibly, he's our emotional leader, right? So he's a lot of times our vocal leader out there. And I was really pleased last week in the second half of the Penn game that without him, other guys really stepped forward. And, I thought we played really good basketball offensively Saturday night, especially in the second half. Defensively, there's a few, I mean, they had a 7-point possession, and, they had some other, Penn had some really good offensive possessions where we have to be a little bit better. But I was pleased with how, Keno and Landon and AJ and Lindell and Malcolm kind of stepped in to fill that void. And I'm confident we'll, if faced with the task of playing without Aaron again this weekend, I'm confident that everyone will step forward and do all they can to make up for his absence.
Coach, Lindell Harold's done a little bit of everything for you this year on the offensive end. I mean, he's really expanded his game. He's been a threat from three. He's a great slasher. But what's impressed me defensively about him, when he gets stuck in a mismatch and a bigger guy is trying to post him up and back him down, he plays tough against some of those bigs. He plays almost bigger than he is defensively when he's, faced with that challenge.
Yeah, he's tough. He's competitive. He plays with an edge. So that's the first thing. I think his attitude and his mentality. And he's really long. He may not be like 250 pounds, but he's got really quick feet and quick hands. So he knows how to use those strengths to his advantage if he gets caught in that situation. And then he's got great support from his teammates if that happens. So, his obviously strength is really locking down on your other team's best perimeter player. But when caught in those situations, he's able to overcome it, I think, with some of those things we talked about. And then he's also doing a really good job rebounding the ball.
And Coach AJ, teams, I think, obviously respecting the heck out of his ability to shoot the three. And he has made more of a concerted effort, it seems like, in recent games to, either take it to the rim, get some layups, or even the mid-range jumper has been working for him.
Yeah, he's a talented offensive player, and I think you and I talked about it the other day on our show. I'm not worried about AJ's 3-point shooting. He's as good of a 3-point shooter as there is, and he's he's going to bust out here, and it'd be great for him to do it this weekend. But I know it's coming. And even with him not making a three last Saturday night, how good was he attacking the paint? How good was he setting up his teammates? He can rebound. He really competes at the defensive end of the floor. He does a whole lot more than just make threes.